Zelensky warns Putin's next 5 targets if Ukraine falls, a stark message to Europe. In a bold and chilling warning, President Volodymyr Zelensky has revealed that if Ukraine falls, Russian President Vladimir Putin will be emboldened to target 5 additional countries on the European continent. During a press conference held in Kiev on the 3rd anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Zelensky made it clear that Putin's expansionist ambitions extend far beyond the Ukrainian borders. According to the Ukrainian leader, the nations at risk are those with significant Russian-speaking populations or with deep historical ties to the former Soviet sphere of influence. He specifically identified Estonia, Latvia, Poland, Moldova, and Slovakia as potential targets. Zelensky explained, when you have Russian-speaking people or their roots or their families in a country, that country is at risk. At the very beginning, Russian officials claimed that their actions were not about occupation, but about defending Russian-speaking people. If we fall, I fear that every country with such ties will face the same threat because of the aggressive policies pursued by Putin. This warning comes at a time when Putin has repeatedly used the protection of Russian speakers as a pretext for his actions. In his infamous essay on the historical unity of Russians and Ukrainians, Putin argued that the two peoples share not only a common heritage, but also a common destiny. Now Zelensky warns that this narrative will be exploited once again to justify further invasions in the region. Adding to the gravity of the situation, Zelensky noted that if his nation is unable to stave off the current conflict, the collapse of Ukraine's defenses would signal to Putin that the time is ripe to expand his territorial ambitions. If we fall, then I believe that all the countries I have mentioned will be at risk because of Russia's policy and its view of the Russian world, he stated passionately. In a related development, reports have emerged that the current Russian military buildup has intensified. Putin recently ordered that the size of the Russian armed forces be increased to 2.4 million soldiers, although current estimates suggest that the force number is around 1.5 million. This massive expansion, aimed at bolstering Russia's ability to wage prolonged conflict, poses a serious threat to the stability of the entire region. Furthermore, while 4 of the 5 countries mentioned by Zelensky are members of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which guarantees collective defense, Moldova remains outside the alliance. Moldova, with its significant Russian-speaking minority and historical connections to the Soviet era, is particularly vulnerable. This raises the stakes for NATO, as any Russian incursion into these countries could trigger a unified military response from all member states. Adding fuel to the fire, Zelensky's warning has resonated powerfully with European leaders. At a recent international security forum, several prominent figures emphasized the need for a robust and united response to deter further aggression by Russia. One European diplomat commented, "Zelensky's message is a wake-up call for all of us. The potential for a domino effect is real. If Russia is allowed to achieve its objectives in Ukraine, it will not stop there." In the same breath, President Zelensky reiterated that Ukraine's future depends on a firm stance by its Western allies. He stressed that Ukraine must continue to fight for its sovereignty while also preparing for a post-conflict recovery that requires significant economic and military support. "We must learn from our experiences," he said. "Only our armed forces have the modern real-world combat experience necessary to secure our future. But if we are forced to rely solely on external support, our destiny will be decided by those who may not share our vision for freedom and independence." Zelensky's remarks come amid a broader geopolitical context marked by mounting tensions between Russia and the West. While the United States and many European nations have imposed severe sanctions on Russia, Moscow continues to use its narrative of protecting Russian speakers to justify its aggressive actions. In recent months, Western officials have noted an increase in the number of Russian military movements near the borders of several Eastern European countries. Analysts warn that if Ukraine is not able to repel the invasion, Putin's strategy could soon extend to other vulnerable nations, fundamentally altering the security landscape of Europe. As the situation evolves, the international community is calling for renewed dialogue and decisive action. European leaders have begun to explore the possibility of a coordinated response that would not only defend the sovereignty of individual nations, but also ensure long-term stability in the region. Discussions about enhanced military cooperation, joint economic initiatives, and stronger diplomatic channels are underway, aiming to create a united front against any further expansionist ambitions by Russia. Meanwhile, Zelensky's message has sparked a vigorous debate on social media and in think tanks across Europe. Critics of Russian policy argue that allowing aggression to go unchecked will only embolden Putin to pursue his territorial ambitions further, potentially leading to a much broader conflict. On the other hand, some voices urge caution, emphasizing the need for a balanced approach that avoids provoking further escalation while still protecting the interests of all affected countries. In summary, President Zelensky's stark warning that Putin's next targets include Estonia, Latvia, Poland, Moldova, and Slovakia has added a new layer of urgency to an already volatile situation. The fate of Ukraine, and by extension the security of the entire region, hangs in the balance. With Russian military expansion, historical grievances, and the potential for NATO involvement, the coming months will be critical in determining whether Europe can unite to halt a further slide into conflict or whether the aggressive policies of Putin will set the stage for a new chapter of instability. Stay tuned as this story continues to develop, and we will bring you more updates on this high-stakes geopolitical drama.
Thank you for watching my video. Please like and subscribe.